After weeks of conflict in Libya and ahead of a major conference in London of all the coalition forces about the operations in that country, we interviewed Dr. Faheem Bukhatwa, who is a Libyan college lecturer living in Ireland. Dr. Bukhatwa's nephew, a 24-year-old law graduate, was killed during the first week of conflict. A lot has happened since the start of the troubles in Libya. There had been a lot of conflicting news. People really did not know what was going on, but now we have a better picture, a clearer picture. We know that NATO is involved now. The Americans have been there, and they're still there, but not fully. The operations on the ground in Libya have been floating. And some days there have been gains for the rebels, some days have been gains for the Gaddafi forces. So how do you assess the situation right now?
Well, the situation, I think, is going in the favor of the rebels. At some stage, Gaddafi's forces did push the rebels back, and that's before the military assistance came. And the military assistance, remember, originally came and still is there to protect civilians. So Gaddafi was stopped from going into the city of Benghazi, and if he had not been stopped, there would have been a massacre in Benghazi on a large scale. We want to give our gratitude and thanks to France in particular, and then all the other countries that have joined and helped, the United States mainly, and Britain, and all the other European countries that have happened, and non-Europeans, and the Arab states as well.
Yes.
So we are absolutely grateful to all those countries for stopping the massacre in Libya, and they're still doing a good job in stopping the massacre. It's not finished. Excuse me. It is not finished yet, and there's still a lot of work need to be done, but they've definitely neutralized the air force for Gaddafi, and that was a major, power or an advantage he had in terrorizing the civilians and bombing the towns and cities of Libya. Now his other power are the heavy tanks and artillery, and they're being neutralized as well.
Yes.
And I think time will go along, in the favor of the rebels.
Today, there was a major meeting in London with all the coalition nations and more, including NATO, are fully involved in this situation now. Now, most likely, there will be a coordination of operations in Libya, which will lead to getting rid possibly of Gaddafi or pushing him out, if you like. So what is going to happen if he resigns, if he is pushed out, if he's forced out? What is going to happen politically in Libya?
Well, I will jump to that stage. If he's gone or pushed out or left the country or got killed or died or whatever, Libya, for the Libyans, they are looking forward to having a democratic, free state. Definitely, all of them, all the different parties in Libya are united in having a better future for Libya. No more dictatorship and no more, security forces withholding the freedom of speech, and we will be having free speech, free newspapers, magazines, TV, free media in general, and we will be having free elections, and no more, 20 years ruling a country.
If they get rid of him, and certainly there will be a considerable, substantial pocket of pro-Gaddafi people there left, what happens to them? Is there a danger of a mini civil war?
No, I don't think so. Most of the people who are there, who are now, they seem to be pro-Gaddafi. A lot of them. There are very few of them who are really fully supportive of Gaddafi and they believe in his ideas. The rest of them, they're people who are gaining by being there with him, and he's paying them money. And the moment the money stops, not even when he goes, just as soon as the money stops, they leave him. There's a lot of non-Libyans. There are people, mercenaries, who are brought in. They don't even speak the language. They're not, you know, from the country, and they're mercenaries paid to fight for him, and they'll definitely be gone to send to their countries. He does not have a large base in Libya. And there are also others who are criminals who have committed crimes in Libya and elsewhere outside the country, and they'll definitely be brought to a trial. But it's going to be, hopefully, you know, a free trial and a just court system. We could have United Nations obviously coming in and helping establish and set the laws and democratic country and put the organizations in place and foundation. We definitely, in Libya, we're not looking forward. We've had enough trouble for 42 years. We don't want any more dictatorship, or we don't want to be offending any more people or oppressing any more people. It doesn't matter who. Any group in Libya has the right to live free and have proper, you know, law and proper representation.
Tell me about the National Front. We have heard about National Front in Libya. Who are they?
Over the last 40 years, since Gaddafi came to power, there have been a lot of groups of people from Libya who went against him, and they're known as the opposition groups. They weren't allowed to remain in Libya, so they all left somehow, somewhere, either to France, Italy, the United States, some in Egypt, some in Morocco. So they're in different parts of the world and they are opposing him. And they call themselves different names, different individual groups. And one of them is the Libyan National Front, but by no means it's not the only one. Yeah. There's about 12 or 14 different groups, but they're all united in one thing at least: get rid of Gaddafi. He's a dictator and he has to go.
So the hope is that all these groups, as you say, anti-Gaddafi, that the hope is that they galvanize, they consort themselves into a proper front which will help the transition to a democratic regime after Gaddafi is gone.
I think that they'll definitely help. Whether they'll all melt into a single group, they may not. It's going to be a free country. So if they don't agree, if their aims and whatever their targets, they differ, well, let it be. You know, it's a free country, and hopefully we'll have different parties, and they can form their own parties, and people are happy with whatever they are offering. People will vote for them, and if not, you know, there'll be the opposition. But it will be in a peaceful, democratic state.
Which is a healthy thing.
Hopefully, yes, it is.
Thank you very much.
Molti grazie.